Okay. I think when Dr. Ahmed Al-Laisi called me to talk about this topic, I think I had many thoughts in my mind actually, because we all affected by this war going on in Sudan. And it's not just medical professionals, obviously, every Sudanese people affected by this war. But we just thought we'll concentrate on the medical professionals on this talk and see how we can help people who are working in these very difficult situations in Sudan. As we all know, this war actually devastated the country's infrastructure and economy, and just left many deep psychological scars on all of us. And obviously, among those who are affected most are the medical professionals, who are always in the front lines and facing a lot of traumas and chaos. So what is overall impact of war on mental health? Obviously, psychological trauma, which we'll talk about in details in a minute. Social and family disruptive and displacement. I think this is one of the biggest problems now facing our Sudanese people. All the communities are broken down actually in Sudan. Education of children has been affected. And it's a lot of impact on this lack of access for many people to health services. And unfortunately, there was other complications of this war, like substance misuse, become one of the problems in young people in Sudan. The rate increased a lot, although there is no any researches on that area yet. But judging from our clinical practice, there's a lot of cases actually who now presented with substance misuse problems. And obviously, there's a lack of access to mental health services in Sudan. And you will not be surprised if you know that in all Khartoum area now there is no psychiatrist available. They all moved actually, or understandably, out of area to more secure areas or more secure cities, and many of them moved outside the country. So there's zero access of mental health services actually in many areas in Sudan now. These specific stresses faced by medical professionals in war zones generally, and of course in Sudan, exposures to trauma. So that's one of the biggest things that face people in hospitals now working in Sudan. And usually when I say hospital in Sudan, I put examples of Al-Mustashfa now, for example, in Sudan, or there are few hospitals working inside the capital. So the medical professionals in this hospital, they are facing with daily trauma. There's overwhelmed workload, of course, because obviously the number of medical professionals become less and less. Resource limitation, also one of the problems. Ethical and moral dilemmas. Sometimes this is one of the things that face people in war times, and actually faced medical professional actually also in COVID time, that this will be in a dilemma of treating with limited resources to treat who you must treat, and you have to decide which one need to be treated. Is it young people or old people or women or children? So there's a lot of ethical and moral dilemmas facing medical professionals in war zone. And of course, worries about personal and family safety, especially in the war of Sudan. Sadly, there's a lot of medical professionals who lost their life because of this war. And the psychological stress of all these kind of stresses. Isolation and lack of support, that's one of the other stressors. And many of medical professionals in Sudan are also facing political pressure, interference from military groups from the two parts in the war going in Sudan. So there's lots of stresses actually faced by medical professionals in Sudan currently. There's some researches of from research. There's some evidence that people working in war zones, they may develop a lot of medical or psychological traumas. Because of the short of the time, I'm not going through all the studies, but there's just one study in Iraq. They found health professionals exposed to mass casualty, especially dealing with them, they are likely or more likely to suffer from depression, anxiety, stress. These people who are especially working in the mortuary or the surgical team and the medical team. This understandably because are the most people dealing with traumas. Another study in Libya, they found that depressive symptoms are quite high in people who are working in the medical field or the health care workers. There's other things like age, residence status, stigmatization, living in a conflict zone. All this can significantly associated with depressive symptoms. What is the main psychological effect? So the main psychological effect is burnout. So people obviously get burnout. Burnout is like people get exhausted from work. They find it quite hard to work. They lose the ability to care. They lose the ability to connect with other people, with their staff. And burnout obviously can happen even in non-war zones, but obviously is more frequent in war zones. Acute stress reaction is one of the most common things at work. This is a transient disorder that of significant severity that happens within days, developed to response to exceptional physical or mental stress. And it usually resolves within hours or days. Some of people just get over it and carry on with their life. But others people, this left them with some sort of anxiety and difficulty managing their worries and difficulty concentrating. And this anxiety can eventually turn out to be depressed. People get depressed. They feel low, depressed. They lose interest in working. They start having feeling of worthlessness, and they even can start having feeling of suicidal thoughts. And the most common thing, which usually happen in war zone, is PTSD. It's not actually the most common thing, but it's the most chronic thing and most serious thing, which is post-traumatic stress disorder, because people will be facing traumas. And problem about PTSD, it stays with people for long times, for years and years. And usually it's characterized with these flashbacks and recurrent flashbacks, reliving of the trauma, nightmares about the trauma, avoiding places about the trauma, and obviously associated with low mood or depression. And there's also moral energy, as we said earlier, the behaviors that contradict the one's moral beliefs and how to direct resources to treat different people. And as we said, also substance misuse disorder can also happen among medical professionals due to because they're subjected to this kind of trauma in war zones. So what can we do actually to help people? These things that colleagues can do to each others in war zone. So as a colleague, you can support your coworkers by spotting actually the signs of concern in them. So the signs of them, if you notice that your colleague is having nightmares, difficulty sleeping, unable to stop worrying, become jumpy, easily irritable, medically unexplained, feeling flashback. Actually, not just people in war zone, even people working in other countries or in UK or UAE, whatever country. I think many people have this kind of symptoms just from watching the media. So you don't have to be in a place of the trauma to develop this kind of signs. We encourage colleagues who work together that they offer other colleagues opportunity to talk to them, and they be always try to be available to listen to them, be kind and consistent and reassuring. and encouraging them to maintain good self-help and help them to explore the cause of their stress. And if they can help them stress it, or they address it to a mental health professional, that would be good actually to help them to accelerate it. What individuals can do for themselves? We usually advise people to just first thing, you have to take care of yourself. So you have to get good, this just basic measures, like just get enough sleep, take breaks, get enough exercise, do things that is helping you to maintain your life. Peer support is very important. These things we need also to we encourage people in war zones, especially, to just form some sort of peer support groups and talk to each other, even if they are not able to uh, be connected like face to face. Then they can do this kind of things by online, or even WhatsApp support and things like that. Supervision and consultation are very, very important. I think that's will organizations like SDU can play an important role in that, to provide support and consultation. We also encourage people in war zone to just take care of themselves and to set boundaries about what they can do and what they can't do. They have to keep in regular contact with their family and friends in these times. They shouldn't ignore also the importance of education and training. And again, SDU and other organizations can help with that. Community engagement is very, very important. They have to be engaged in their local community if it is safe to do that in war zones, because taking care of other people sometimes help a lot with this kind of stress. Mindful and relaxation technique, these things, they should learn how to do it, and they should practice it. Number 9, this should be stay informed actually, but limited media access. I think this is very important actually, even for us, because there's lots of information on media these days, and it become one of the causes of these stresses actually. So we are encourage people not to listen to every news, or limit their time of access to the media. Resilient buildings, people need actually, this is the role of people outside Sudan. We need to start doing training for people inside Sudan in these war zones for resilience building, and how they can cope, how they can cope, to teach them the coping strategies and stress management, cognitive restructuring, changing their negative thoughts from positive thoughts, and teach them the problem-solving skills to deal with their trauma. And always try to tell them to focus on the positive things, although the picture now is very gloomy, but we always advise people just to be hopeful and to be concentrate on positive things. And usually we tell them that to seek help, seek professional help, and not to be ashamed to come forward for help. So organizations actually like SDU can do a lot actually to people in Sudan, inside Sudan. First thing, I think we need to do mental health training for Sudan. As I said earlier, resilient training, stress management training, coping strategies training, educate health professionals recognizing, addressing trauma in themselves and others. And we also need to be able to offer remote counseling sessions with medical professionals. And I think just talking allows them, or giving them the chance to talk about themselves and about their feeling, that will be quite helpful for them. Even if there's nothing much we can do to them, but by listening to them, that will be quite helpful for them. And encourage an organized peer group to peer support, and screening program to identify this on need. Actually, we need to do that by screening for any mental illness among medical professionals, and just signpost them to the right resources. In some areas, like some area zones, I mean, like Gaza and Palestine, Gaza, and in other areas, they have this mental health hotlines 24/7 for immediate mental health support. So that's something. It may not be difficult to do it for all Sudanese people, but at least we can do it for medical health professionals. If you can arrange something like that, that would be quite helpful for them, even by WhatsApp or anything like that. Just to be, there'll be access to them for immediate support. So it's just last thing. I think we need to just install hope in ourselves and in others. We hope that this war will stop, and we hope that we'll overcome this shadow of war and build a future filled with promises. It's just, I think there's a lot we need to learn about this, about hope from this Afghani boy. So I just want to sort of share you with this video. Oops, sorry. Thank you very much for listening, and see if they are ready to answer any questions or any queries here. Thank you very much.